right here. This is Big Cass, and he got fired for beating up a midget, and you can't teach that.
Wait, that's why they really fired him, as the midget segment?
I don't know. You didn't let me finish, though. Bada boom, realest unemployed guys in the room. How you doing?
It's true.
Yeah. So that's the big news out of this week, though. I feel like we're probably not going to talk about that too long.
I mean, we don't. Is there anything that's come out since?
Well, the thing about Big Cass is they didn't have the normal future endeavors, cut and paste, message. It was pretty much just like we've come to terms with the release of what was his name, William Morrissey, aka
Something
Big Cass.
Like that, yeah.
So it was pretty much just.
Oh, shut up! I was checking the stream. I was going to share it.
Looking good. Okay. Yeah. No, don't freeze on me, man. All right, I think the Lumberjake just froze on me.
Talk.
Oh, okay, no, he's there. All right, so my real name is I'm not Enzo More. My name is Crawdaddy, and I'm kind of a belt collector, and I'm holding the IC belt here for a reason we'll get into here in a little bit, and I'm joined by none other than.
Yeah, I'm the Lumberjake. I was trying to do like a Jeff Goldblum thing there.
I can see it. So a lot to talk about this week, actually. Money in the Bank just passed. Pretty decent pay-per-view. Definitely a lot better than the Money in the Bank we went to last year.
Hey, I thought last year's was okay.
Yeah, just if the aftermath would have been better, I would have been happier.
That's only because you lost.
Well, we all tied, and you got to keep the championship. But I'm talking about like the cash in of Baron Corbin. Like seriously, he should have. Yeah.
Now he's corporate king.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So this week, yeah, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. We do have a new women's champion. We have a new Intercontinental champion. Am I missing anybody? We have a new NXT Tag Team Champions. That's a spoiler, though. So
wow.
Probably should have warned that one.
Yeah, I doubt anybody really cares about whether or not they got that spoiled.
Well, to be honest, I don't. If you're hearing this from me, then I'm surprised because the WWE app normally they'll say, "Hey, we have new champions. Click here if you want to see caution spoilers."
Yeah.
But for the NXT Tag Team Champions, they just flat out said it on the notification. I'm like, really?
Well, they probably thought that somebody was going to say it anyway. Like they probably were just trying to get ahead of the internet at that point.
Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I figure we just go down the line and just start with Money in the Bank, then
Money in the Bank,
Raw, SmackDown.
We can even start as far back as NXT TakeOver. Man, I have a new WWE crush, and her name is Nikki Cross. My God, she is awesome. Did you watch that match, Nikki Cross versus Shayna Baszler?
I don't get your taste in women.
Did you watch the Nikki Cross versus Shayna Baszler match?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so she was just kept asking for it. Nikki Cross kept baiting Shayna in. She wasn't showing fear at all. And the best part was by far the end of the match, where Shayna got her sleeper hold applied on Nikki Cross, and she was trying to get out first, but then she just started smiling and kind of waving her arms a little bit, and then she passed out, and Shayna retained. My God, it was an incredible match.
Is that where they got the meme where it's like she's in the chokehold, but she's like smiling, and it's like, this is fine.
Yeah. So, man, I just love how crazy she is.
Again, I don't get your taste, but you know.
Yeah. Well, to each his own, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, Shayna Baszler is still NXT NXT Women's Champion. Then you also have the first match tonight was the Undisputed Era putting their tag team titles on the line against God, I forgot their names. I know one's an American, one's a Brit.
How did you? You wanted to talk about NXT Takeover. You're the one who wanted to talk about this. I don't care. I know. The internet might hate me for that, but I just don't. I just don't.
Well, I mean, hey, I didn't really start getting into NXT until recently myself. So it was the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, and they defeated, I think his name's Oni Lorcan and Danny Birch. So they retained. And that was an incredible match, by the way. I would go as far as to say that it was probably a 4.5 star or a 4.75 star. Then you had Ricochet defeating the Velveteen Dream. Really awesome match. If you haven't seen a Ricochet match, watch it. He's incredible.
That's the only match I cared about. That's because there's the only two I really care about when it comes to NXT.
Saw a great meme that came from the video package of that.
Hogan and The Rock.
Of the Velveteen Dream, where he's just kind of sitting there in the chair and he's like, the Dream has no memory of that.
What?
Anyway, then we had the Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross match, and of course, like I said, Shayna Baszler retained. Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan, really hard-hitting match. Aleister Black retained. And then, my God, another 5-star classic, in my opinion. Tommaso Ciampa defeating Johnny Gargano in the Chicago Street Fight. And so the end of that match, how that basically went is I guess Tommaso Ciampa took the ring off of the wedding ring off of Johnny Gargano's finger and kind of threw it away, and then Johnny knocked him or put him through a table, and he was about to get Tommaso Ciampa was about to get carted off, and then Johnny just lost it. He went over there and started attacking Tommaso Ciampa, brings him back to the ring, and just keeps brutally assaulting. And everybody's trying to pull him off, but he won't budge. And then Tommaso Ciampa somehow gets back up, DDTs Johnny Gargano on the ring, but they took the mat off the ring earlier in the match, so it was just like the wood. Mm-hmm. And then Tommaso Ciampa picked up the victory. Incredible match. I'm probably explaining it very crappy, but it was a good match.
Yeah, I think Ciampa's still showing that he's like the ultimate heel in wrestling right now.
Love it,
especially the fact that they did that whole spot with the wedding ring, because I doubt that's real.
Yeah,
I doubt that would really happen, but that was pretty cool.
So now let's move on to Money in the Bank, the one that I'm sure a lot more people are familiar with, including you, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start off. The Bludgeon Brothers defeated Gallows and Anderson on the pre-show.
And nothing.
Yeah, not much to say about it.
There's really nothing to say, and I don't understand what they're trying to do with either of these teams, especially on what we saw on Tuesday. Like, I don't know what they're trying to do, because they have him. They attacked Daniel Bryan, and then during the gauntlet stuff, I don't know what they're doing. It's I don't know. I have no idea what their direction for this team is in the SmackDown Tag Team division in the future. I have no idea what they plan to do. Yeah, who knows?
Excuse me, a little bit of indigestion there. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, they are making the Bludgeon Brothers look, at least they're dominant, So, I mean, that's a plus, but still putting him on the pre-show, it was kind of like a giveaway, like, hey, Gallows and Anderson, they aren't going to win. Yeah. So next we had Daniel Bryan. What? Daniel Bryan defeating.
Daniel Bryan? Is that what you said?
I don't know. Daniel Bryan defeating Big Cass And that was actually a shock because I thought this was going to go to Extreme Rules. But little did I know that Big Cass would be released a couple of days later.
Yep.
So, that's obviously why Daniel Bryan picked up the win.
Which, again, I couldn't care less about Big Cass being released. I never bought in. I never drank the Kool-Aid. I never got into him and Enzo. I just never did. None of it connected with me. And I've said several times on this show how I thought they were just lame 90s catchphrases. And I am a little shocked that – I'm not shocked. I'm a little surprised, I would say. I wouldn't go fully into shock, but I thought that WWE had something – plan for him and something like they were going to do something with him because you know how much they love the big strong heel. I was kind of surprised that they didn't do anything with him, and they gave him Daniel Bryan, but there was nothing to this feud. Nobody cared.
Right.
This is really the first big one-on-one feud you want Daniel Bryan to have on his return is a bland match on Money in the Bank.
And Backlash.
I mean, yeah, and it was a little bit better than I expected, but it still wasn't very good.
I mean, Daniel Bryan definitely brought out the best in Big Cass, I would say. So, yeah, kind of a dud, really. Next, we had Bobby Lashley defeating Sami Zayn, and I'm going to be honest, I did not watch this match.
I don't think anybody. This is probably a potty break for a lot of people.
Well, that and one that came up later, which we'll get to.
Yeah, again, I mean, like I said, I don't even know what they're trying to do with Bobby Lashley. It's a lot similar to Daniel Bryan. I don't know what they're trying to do, and maybe this is just filler to something greater. I hope that's the case. I just saw today that Sami Zayn is injured, and he's going to be out until 2019, probably early 2019. Maybe mid 2019, but he's out, so that whole feud's done now. And I think they're gonna now. You're already seeing them already put him in the main event picture because of that tag match on Raw, where he's kind of went back and forth with Roman and Kevin Owens and stuff like that. So I think obviously they're pushing into something greater.
Next, we have Seth Rollins, who defeated Elias. Pretty good Seth Rollins match, as always. Elias does a great job as well. You know, not much to say. We did both think Elias was going to take this. We thought it was his time to hold this, but little did we know WWE had other plans, which we'll get to for tomorrow on Raw when we talk about Raw.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this?
It's a good match, solid match. Seth keeps showing that, you know, he's a solid workhorse for the company. He always has been. He just keeps showing that every time he goes out and performs. And I think Elias is on the right track to be a good star. I think they're doing smart. This is the few times where they've actually successfully kept they've kept a gimmick from NXT in the main roster, and it's actually worked.
It's actually gotten bigger because if you remember when they first brought Elias to the main roster and he was doing this, you know, he was getting a lot of good heel heat, but now it's like he's getting, you know, good. I mean, he's just getting cheered now. He could say whatever he wants about the town and they'll cheer him.
Yeah.
And a lot of the towns will even chant, "We deserve it." It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't, it's hard to explain his character getting so over. I think it mostly is just because all he does is come out, play guitar, and talk shit. That's all he does. There's really nothing else to him, but it works.
Next, we had the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which, by the way, was a lot better than last year's. We had Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Ember Moon versus Lana versus Alexa Bliss versus Naomi versus Natalia versus Sasha Banks. 18 minutes, 30-second match, 8-way Money in the Bank women's ladder match. Now, I predicted Natalia to win because that's what the betting odds were saying, and I believe you had Becky Lynch, who actually got screwed over in this match again, like she did last year.
Here's the thing. I'm going to have to push back on this because I thought last year's match was a good match.
I mean, it was good, but I like this one better.
Yeah, but you're just trying to throw dirt on it, I think, because of the ending. I think the ending was fine last year.
Was good. It definitely got a lot of heat, so that's a positive.
I thought it was a solid ladder match. I don't necessarily – until later on in the night, I didn't necessarily agree with the choice. But how it ended up being with Alexa, I think it works really well. And it was –
Alexa Bliss won.
Really good heel work, and I like the fact that she kind of screws over Ronda there, and because I didn't want Ronda to win. I don't think Ronda. I just hate how much she is Brock Lesnar. It's just so, but she's on TV more. I'll give her that. She's actually more part of the roster than he is.
She's just like Brock Lesnar, she doesn't do any matches outside of pay-per-views, at least yet.
No, and that's fine. She's a draw. That's what she's supposed to be. She was the biggest name in UFC for a long time, and she's one of the bigger names in WWE now. But like I said, I just didn't think she should have been champ. So I'm happy with how they played it in the long run. I think this is a good match.
Money in the Bank, yeah.
I think Sasha needs to stop doing matches like this because she's taking years off her life. She's going to die in the ring. Like, she takes some scary bumps. And
yeah, I was actually having my girlfriend watch this, and I was telling her, I'm like, hey, this girl Sasha Banks, she constantly, does some crazy moves that look like they're gonna kill her, and she cringed up a lot watching her.
I think Amber Moon was really great too.
She's perfect.
I hope they do more with her. I hope she's not. They seem to what they do with these NXT people is they bring them up, they give them a nice debut, they give them a pay-per-view here and there, like put them in a multi-person match, and then they kind of don't do anything. So hopefully they'll actually do something with her.
Well, you never know. I mean, hopefully she'll have some sort of a feud with Alexa Bliss. That'd be cool. It was a decent match. I think Charlotte carried the match quite a bit. Charlotte and Becky and Ember, they all kind of carried the match a little bit. Lana even did some pretty good work in this match, I thought.
Yeah. That's the thing with this kind of match. You can kind of mask her skill with ladders.
Next up, we again had another P break. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal in a 15-minute, 40-second snooze fest.
Man, you talk about a crowd not being into a match. That was
They were chanting everything and anything. Why don't you talk about this match for a little bit while I look up what they chanted? Because I believe JD from New York actually posted a tweet about this.
Well, it was CM Punk. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. We want the beach ball. And then those are the main ones I heard. The fact that they were chanting CM Punk made me laugh because that's such a lame old. I think that's like the ultimate sign that nobody wants to watch your match if they chant CM Punk at any point. This is awful, I imagine, was another one of their things.
Okay, I got the full list as put up by JD from New York. CM Punk, obviously. Boring. They chanted NXT. They chanted Rusev Day. They chanted This Is Awful. They chanted Johnny Wrestling. They chanted Asshole. They chanted Let's Go Cena, CM Punk. They chanted Delete, Delete, Delete. They chanted Let's Go Beach Ball. They chanted, they were doing a full-blown crowd wave. They were chanting, This match sucks. They were even chanting, End this match. There was a Y2J chant and a Velveteen chant.
Yeah, I'd be that. Bring out Velveteen Dream.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm not surprised at all that this had the reaction it did fan-wise because, nobody likes either of these guys, so nobody really wants to see that,
Right. And I mean, it's a shame because, I do think out of everything that Roman Reigns probably is putting on his best matches that he ever has since he started. But at the same time, since his character is, since nobody really cares about his character, nobody's going to watch the match.
Well, I mean, you can only be fed the same stuff over and over and over again.
Right.
You know?
So let's see.
It's not his fault.
No, it's how he was booked. All right, so the next match we got here is Carmella versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, I was actually really hoping that they were going to put the belt on Asuka. I thought it was her time, and since she didn't have that undefeated streak anymore, it was a little bit more intriguing because it was like, okay, maybe they wouldn't keep it on her as long.
If WWE doesn't do something soon, she's going to be a joke. If they don't repair this in the next like at SummerSlam or do something with her, she's going to be a joke because for her to lose clean,
it wasn't clean.
Charlotte, no, listen. For her to lose clean to Charlotte, I didn't like that choice. But if you're going to end the streak. But she's lost in tag team action on TV and SmackDown. Now she loses to Carmella. I don't understand what they're doing where they built up her and Shinsuke and then do nothing with them.
Right.
I don't understand it. I really hate the fact that James Ellsworth's back. He was that whole thing with him and Carmella. I hated so much. I just did not like it. Maybe that's kind of the point because they're heels, whatever. But I just think that was if you're gonna make Asuka lose, or if you're gonna make her not win the title, I would have preferred a DQ or some kind of no finish or something like that. I didn't. I mean,
on the bright side, and you might disagree with me on this, but if she does have to lose, I'd rather it be in a way like this than a clean loss because honestly, she's only lost clean once. She's still dominant, but you're right. If they keep doing this, she's going to be a joke.
I agree. I could agree with that. Losing that way isn't awful. She still doesn't look, she still looks strong, but
I mean, it's an awful finish, but it's not awful for her necessarily.
Right.
So yeah, James Ellsworth, she walked up on the apron dressed as Asuka, in her mask and robes and whatnot, and then removes the mask. And I did like this part. He winks at her, and then that's when Carmella attacked and pinned her. I love that wink, and I want that gif.
It was me, Asuka. It was me all along.
So yeah, that's how that match finished. Next we had AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a Falls Count Anywhere match last man standing match for the WWE title. And we all thought this was going to be Shinsuke's time, but then again, we've been thinking about that since WrestleMania. I think the majority of people have picked Shinsuke for every match that they've had since the rivalry started. But AJ keeps coming out on top.
Yeah, I don't know what the motivation was to not have Shinsuke go up against AJ anymore. Because from SmackDown, he's done. Now I guess he's going for the U.S. title.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I'm really intrigued to see the Jeff Hardy Shinsuke feud, but we'll get onto that when we talk about SmackDown.
But yeah, I don't understand the decision. I thought it was a really good match, and probably the best match on the show,
and the best out of their whole series.
Yeah. The Styles Clash on the floor was insane, and then the kick to the dick. I thought that looked like it hurt. I know it probably didn't, but it sounded like it hurt. That was a very violent.
I don't get why they didn't do the storyline. Add to the storyline where he decided to wear a cup. Like, that would just be hilarious. Like,
Oh yeah.
Shinsuke goes for a kick or a punch, and then like it doesn't even phase Styles. That would have been great.
When he pulled away from like the low blow, I was like that, and the look on Shinsuke's face, I was like, that is so wrestling. Like the like that like weird cry face he made, and like it was super dramatic of him just like just moving out of the way. That's all he did. And I was like, well, why didn't you do that every other time he punched you in the dick?
Right. Dick kick city.
No, solid match. Kind of surprised they ended it the way they did. I thought this was going to SummerSlam, but I guess they have some interesting choices coming forward.
Yep, and some that are really good, actually, which again we'll get to. The next match was Ronda Rousey facing the WWE Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax for the championship, and Ronda's first singles match or televised singles match. Thoughts on this match before we get to the finish?
Not a bad match. Pretty good match.
Not at all, actually.
I thought they both had really good chemistry. I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, it was Ronda getting dominated for the majority of the beginning of the match, and then when Ronda came back, she was flipping Nia Jax over. Like I wouldn't have been upset. I know you would have, but I wouldn't have been upset if Ronda Rousey would have taken the championship from her.
I wouldn't have been very upset about it, but I would have preferred Nia retaining over Ronda.
But the finish that they went with, I think, was very smart.
I love that finish. I love when they do that because it makes so much sense. It's like once you win that thing, why didn't you cash in the night once you win it? Makes the most sense.
Well, here's what happened. Alexa Bliss came out and she attacks Ronda Rousey. So that basically made Ronda Rousey win the match by disqualification. So that's keeping her winning streak. She still has a winning streak, but this is keeping the title on somebody else. Then after that, she basically beat the crap out of Ronda Rousey with the briefcase, and then she gets in the ring and swings Nia Jax a few times, cashes in, and then has a 35-second match with Nia Jax. Nia gets obviously no offense in, and Alexa Bliss takes the title for her 5th Women's Championship.
It was good. Good match. Good finish. I really liked how they did that. Like I said, it's
protecting Ronda and keeping the belt off her.
It was very smart.
And not making us endure a Natalya versus Ronda Rousey feud, which I still think that we're going to probably get eventually.
God, the promos for that are going to be terrible.
Oh yeah. So last we have the main event, which is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, Rusev, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. And I'm not gonna lie, I really, really enjoyed this match. I was surprised at the finish, but I mean, I guess it worked. You had Braun Strowman taking the briefcase, which, to be honest, I don't think Braun needed it, but it did have a shock value to it because everybody thought that the Money in the Bank briefcase was going to go to SmackDown,
right?
And because Brock never shows up on the TV anyway, which kind of would have made more sense, but they gave it to Braun Strowman, who is the most legitimate threat to Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. And they had some very, very crazy spots in this match. Jake,
Kevin Owens died.
Yeah. You want to elaborate on some of the other ones that they had?
I don't remember.
Come on.
I don't have anything, man. I hardly watched any. I really didn't watch any of it. I just watched the stuff on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Well, so at the beginning of the match, of course, everybody goes after Braun Strowman, and they basically fight him all the way up the ramp and then bury him in ladders up at the top of the ramp. They keep going back and forth. Actually, before that, while they were all burying Braun Strowman at the top of the ramp, the Miz was trying to go and steal the briefcase, of course.
The thing where he just runs at them and like when Braun just runs at the ladders and knocks them over.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a stupid spot. And like they try to make it off this big thing, and I'm like, he just ran into him. There was nothing to that.
Right.
There was no, pizzazz. I don't understand why him and Kevin Owens were climbing those ladders, like climbing that ladder by the stage. Makes no damn sense.
I don't know. Probably to I don't know, suspense. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying in like the terms of the actual match, that makes no sense. Like, why were they climbing that ladder? It has nothing to do with the briefcase in the ring. It's just up there. Like, it was a cool spot, but I was like, sometimes you see things in wrestling and you're like, this makes no logical sense. This is just a spot setup, which is fine. It was a good spot, and everybody on Twitter thought that Braun just killed a man on live TV, which is funny because I remember TLC. Everybody said that they when they put Braun in a trash compactor, that they committed murder.
Well, here's the thing I've noticed when it comes back to Kevin Owens. When it comes to Kevin Owens and ladder matches, he's always going to do a spot where it looks like he dies.
And he needs to stop doing that too.
Yeah.
Him and Sasha worry me. Kevin has kids, and I'm worried about them. He needs to stop doing those spots.
I mean, think about the Intercontinental ladder match back from WrestleMania 31, where he takes that, scary bump from Sami Zayn on the ladder.
Yeah.
And now this. Good Lord, Kevin. Come on, man. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, Braun shouldn't have won. That was a shitty ending.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the shock value was good, but the first thing I said when he grabbed the briefcase is like, he doesn't fucking need it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's already in the main event picture,
Well, and it's kind of like this lame tit for tat booking where it's like, well, SmackDown had the pay-per-view last year, so all SmackDown superstars are Money in the Bank winners. So now it has to be Raw winners be Money in the Bank winners for this year, Mm-hmm. And it's just lazy. It's very lazy booking. It's
don't get me wrong, I'm glad that the Universal Championship finally got something, because if you recall, since they've established the Universal Championship, it really hasn't done anything the WWE title has done or kind of had with it, because the last couple Money in the Banks were cashed in on the WWE Championship, and then the Royal Rumbles. Both the 2017 and 2018 went to the WWE Championship side, so it's like I'm okay with it, but if it would have went to
the wrong guy,
if it would have went to like Finn Balor or Kevin Owens, I would have been a lot happier.
Yeah, and I just think being a Money in the Bank winner for Raw is pointless because you're never going to see the champion. So
well, let's move on to Raw, and they did actually make an announcement about that. They didn't say when Brock Lesnar was going to defend his title next. I'm presuming it's going to be SummerSlam, but they said that they're going to have a match at Extreme Rules to determine who Brock's next opponent is going to be.
Which, again, I can't stand that stuff because if it were SmackDown or if it were any other champion, that would have been settled that night on Raw, and they'd already build a feud and go from there. Mm-hmm. I hate when they put number one contenders matches on pay-per-views. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of a spot. And again, if their champion were actually there, they wouldn't have to do these kind of things.
Well, so we got 2 confirmed names for that match already. It's going to be Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley are the 2 confirmed ones so far. Surprise, surprise. I mean, of course, Roman Reigns has got to be in that.
Yeah. I imagine Seth Rollins will be in it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, they this is what it says. It's Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley versus other competitors to be determined. They also set up a rematch for the Raw Women's Championship on Raw. It's going to be Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. But that wasn't the most interesting thing that happened for the women's division on Raw that night. You want to elaborate?
Ronda Rousey went crazy.
Yeah, she.
I don't know. Again, it's just so funny because like you knew this was gonna happen as soon as they announced like it's a title celebration. Why is she having a title celebration? Because
they always end bad.
Yeah, and then like if you're a champion, you never do anything like that. Yeah, she comes down, she beats up Kurt Angle a little bit.
And officials.
Puts her through the table, knocks out some refs. I thought it was okay.
I thought it was great. I mean, I'm finally glad that Ronda Rousey is coming out of her shell.
Here's why I don't like it. Because it was just a way to write her off TV. That's why I don't like it. If she would have come back next week, I would have liked it. But it logically, it makes sense to be like, well, you're suspended 30 days. And I'm like, she just beat up a bunch of people. Braun Strowman flipped vehicles, and you didn't suspend him. But the minute she touches you, she's suspended. That's what I would think. But I don't know why they want to write her off TV, and maybe that's in her contract. But it wasn't a bad segment. It was a good segment. I think it was good for her. I think it was solid.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a couple other pointless matches. Let's take a look here what they had on Raw here. So let's see here. Actually, by the way, if little tip for you guys and you, Jake, if you want to get all wrestling information, go to profightdb.com. It's a freaking amazing website. It's a wrestling encyclopedia, and it's great.
Personally, I go to Sean's View Entertainment.
I mean, he is the best, and he does have the best. I'm not going to go there.
Have you seen it?
Thank God I haven't, because any video that's on it has it blurred out. But yeah. So they had the biggest news I think coming out of Raw was they had Dolph Ziggler face off against Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship, and Drew McIntyre distracted Seth Rollins, and Dolph Ziggler walked away as the Intercontinental Champion, 6-time Intercontinental Champion.
Pulled the tights.
Yep.
I was surprised. I did not expect them to give the belt to Dolph over Elias, but
I thought they were aiming more for a tag team kind of.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna do with Drew there. Maybe somehow build a feud for that title. Maybe Seth gets it back. That. Maybe they play hot potato with it. I don't know. I really don't.
I don't want Seth to get it back, but I would absolutely love Drew to turn on Dolph. That'd be great.
I like it also because it gives Dolph something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it can give Seth a chance to compete for the Universal title, which you think that's going to happen. So that gives him that opportunity and clears him up for that.
I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it happens. I think it's going to be Roman Reigns because you know how WWE is. But, I want to see
Bobby Lashley.
That'd be cool, too. I wouldn't be upset about that. MMA background versus MMA background. So let's see. We had a nothing match. Bobby Roode versus Kurt Hawkins. 43 seconds. Bobby Roode wins.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy defeated Heath Slater and Rhino. It was another quick match.
Which, again, I still don't understand why they weren't on the card for Money in the Bank, but
yeah, I think they're very entertaining tag team.
Especially with the WWE 24 doc that they aired after Money in the Bank, because why wouldn't you just market that in that match? But
right,
whatever.
Jinder Mahal defeated Chad Gable. Another quick match.
Surprise.
Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. And Bayley and Sasha Banks imploded after this match after losing. They actually did a couple backstage segments with this.
I could not care less about this shit.
I mean, I'm intrigued by it only because of the fact that finally Bayley's actually standing up for herself and, fighting and actually, putting her hands on people and not acting like the scared little girl who doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, I don't care. They took too long to invest any time in pulling the trigger on this. It's
yeah. And so first backstage segment they had a brawl. Second backstage segment, Bayley tries to stop her, and she's like, and Sasha's like, I'm not talking to you. She gets in her car and she drives away as Bayley tries to stop it, and she couldn't. So.
Did you see that the window was down and she was trying to tap the window, but the window was down, so there was nothing there?
I didn't notice that.
Oh, man.
All right.
Details, man.
Right. So next we had Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns versus Dash Wilder. Scott Dawson. That match was made. Like I said, they Kurt Angle said that there's going to be a match at Extreme Rules. Winner gets a shot at Brock Lesnar. Most likely at SummerSlam, but they haven't announced that yet. And they already announced Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival, they come out and they want to make a name for themselves. They think that, Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns can't work together. But they do it just enough to, pick up a win against the Revival. No surprise there.
Yeah, I don't like this because it kind of hurts the Revival.
Yeah, it does.
And they're supposed to be a good tag team. I think they're one of the better tag teams. And this just seems like a random thing to put them on TV like this. And I get that they're injury prone, but yeah, I don't like it. You could have put any jobbers in there and that would have been a fine match.
Right. Next you had Mojo Rawley defeating No Way Jose. I didn't realize this, but Mojo Rawley actually has a pretty high winning percentage. I did not know that.
What I want to know is who's more hype. That's the real question. That's how you build that feud. You say, look, man, I'm, get hype, stay hype, Mojo Rawley. But No Way Jose is like, hey, man, I'm just an Adam Rose ripoff. So I'm pretty hyped too, and that's your whole rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's an interesting thing. Again, this ProFightDB.com says that Mojo Rawley has a 75% winning percent.
Where's his title?
I don't know. Yeah. But the only WWE wrestlers ahead of him are John Cena at 76%, Aleister Black at 78%, and Goldberg at 83%. He's not there anymore. The Ultimate Warrior, again, somebody who's not there anymore, at 88%, and Asuka at 89%. But this is a little fun fact about this. There's one person I left out there who was a former WWE wrestler who has a really high winning percentage, and you are gonna laugh your ass off when I mention this name.
Gilbert.
Nope. El Torito.
Makes sense.
He has an 80% winning percentage.
As I say, he's pretty much won every match he's in, so I believe it.
Yeah, but that's crazy. All of these guys have a higher winning percentage than Bruno Sammartino, than Michael Hayes, Brock Lesnar. It's crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
So the main event of Raw, getting back to that, the main event of Raw was Baron Corbin, Constable Baron Corbin, and Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman and Finn Balor. Surprisingly, Baron Corbin and Kevin Owens picked up the win.
Seems a little weird but Braun has had so much momentum. It doesn't hurt him. But I was surprised because I figured they would kind of put him over because he's, Mr. Monster in the Bank. But yeah, a little weird, a little different. I kind of like that. I don't know what they're trying to do with him and Kevin Owens, but I like it. I could see a match where Kevin Owens is gonna like convince Braun to do a match for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like he's gonna say, "Hey man, if you really think you're better than me, put it on the line. Put the briefcase on the line." If he were to do that, and Kevin Owens won, good job. But I know that won't happen.
Yeah.
Also, man, you talk about a dude carrying a promo. Man, did Kevin Owens carry that? He really had to carry that promo.
Yeah.
Just don't let Braun talk. Just let Braun.
I mean, when he does talk, if he does short sentences and shit, it's
one-liners. That's all he needs to do.
Or like even when he was singing, that was gold.
Yeah, with the giant upright bass.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I don't think it was a bad episode of Raw. I think it's the typical. You got to build towards SummerSlam. I like what they did with Ronda. I don't necessarily care what's going on in the main event scene. The Steph loss was a big surprise. It wasn't a bad Raw.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to SmackDown Live. So pretty interesting SmackDown Live, and the end of the night is the most surprising. But first, let's start off. First match of the night, it was Becky Lynch defeating Billie Kay. Got anything on this?
They got to give Becky something.
Yeah.
Maybe do something with the Iconics. I don't know.
Next, you had the tag team championships on the line, SmackDown tag titles on the line, and a rematch for Money in the Bank. Harper and Rowan defeating Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows once again. Kind of another throwaway match. I think it was pointless.
Yeah.
But then this is where things started getting interesting. To crown a new number one contender for AJ Styles' WWE Championship, they decided to, do what Raw did and have a gauntlet. Not nearly as long as the Raw gauntlet, but it was definitely it was still pretty decent. So the wrestlers involved were Daniel Bryan, Big E, Samoa Joe, The Miz, and Rusev. So it starts off, Daniel Bryan, of course, starts the match. He defeats Big E after 11 minutes. Then he faces off against Samoa Joe, and he wins that one
by a count out, which I thought that was a funny finish.
Yeah, and then and then after this, the Bludgeon Brothers come out and attack Daniel Bryan, and of course, The Miz takes advantage of that, runs down, delivers the skull-crushing finale to Daniel Bryan. 1, 2, 3, Daniel Bryan. He was the Iron Man of the Gauntlet of close to 27 minutes, but not nearly as good as Seth Rollins, in my opinion. No offense to Daniel Bryan. I love Daniel Bryan. But then after that, Rusev comes out, and to everyone's surprise, Rusev defeats The Miz by submission, becoming the number one contender for AJ Styles' WWE Championship.
Well, he had to win. It was Rusev Day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He should win every Rusev Day.
Yeah.
He should have the highest percentage on out of any wrestler, because every day is Rusev Day, and he should win on every Rusev Day.
That was very shocking to me. I think nobody thought that would happen, mostly because the way that WWE and Rusev have this weird
love-hate relationship,
on again, off again relationship, and yeah, I'm very happy. I think it'll be a very entertaining match, Rusev versus AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm. Well, other notes that happened. Carmella had a little, she gloated again with this. Then Asuka's music hits and starts coming down, doing her full entrance, but then takes off the mask and surprise, it's James Ellsworth, and he says that he is here on SmackDown Live, coming back to serve the Princess of Staten Island. Now I know you can only see me right now, but Jake just rolled his eyes.
It's such a waste.
But after that, the real Asuka does come down. She just like rushes down to the ring, and she beats the crap out of James Ellsworth. But then, and then after she does that, Carmella, attacks Asuka, and James Ellsworth, retreat back. Pretty standard segment there.
Yeah, there's really nothing much to that.
Right. To think he was just on Grimm's Toy Show and now he's back on WWE.
I have nothing other to say than fart noise.
And then the other interesting thing that happened that night, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura seem to be starting a feud. Because last week Jeff Hardy was attacked by Shinsuke Nakamura, so good way to start a feud. But that wasn't the cool part of that. Jeff Hardy went full blown, late 2000s. Jeff Hardy, full face paint, glowing, white contacts. It was good. It was a good little promo from Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
And I am actually pumped to see this, so long as Shinsuke can refrain from using low blows.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I love the idea of Shinsuke and Jeff mixing it up. I think it's a good idea to have those two, compete. I think this will be a good way to get a belt on Shinsuke. Although I think he had done enough to be WWE champion. I think this is a good, workhorse title for him. I think he's going to beat Jeff. That's just what I think is going to happen. But, yeah, I dig it. I like the idea of, he's like, I see you, Shinsuke Nakamura. Which, did Shinsuke mention anything about Jeff Hardy before that?
Yeah, I believe there was actually a challenge made, and Shinsuke accepted.
No, I mean, did Shinsuke reference Jeff before that?
Not before that, other than attacking him the week prior on SmackDown.
Okay, I don't understand that setup, but yeah, I think it'll be a good set of matches.
Yeah, definitely. So that was SmackDown, pretty solid, as SmackDown normally is. Other things that happened in the world of wrestling this week. We have new NXT Tag Team Champions. I referenced this a little bit earlier, and there are spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to hear about this, turn off the video, I guess, for a few moments. But so they did their tapings of the United Kingdom tournament, and let's see here. We'll go to day one. Again, spoilers ahead. Zach Gibson defeated Jack Gallagher, and by the way, this is the tournament. So that was part of the tournament. Joe Coffey defeated Dave Mestif. Flash Morgan Webster defeated Jordan Devlin. Excuse me. Travis Banks defeated Ashton Smith. And then Tony Storm defeated Isla Dawn, Jenny, and Killer Kelly. And I don't know who a lot of these wrestlers are, by the way, because I'm still kind of new to the UK scene. But it looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting thing to watch when it airs on the WWE Network next week.
I like that they're doing more of they're starting to do more of a global thing with NXT. I like that.
Yeah. Later, then Travis Banks defeated Joe Coffey, and then Zach Gibson defeated Travis Banks. Zach Gibson becoming the #1 contender to Pete Dunne's WWE United Kingdom Championship, and that was day one.
He's like the Brock Lesnar of the UK scene.
I know that's not fair. The only reason why he might seem like a Brock Lesnar
that's because they never make him defend it on
they never make him
WWE TV.
Yeah, but he's done it on NXT TV, and he actually does it all over the UK in different promotions.
Yeah.
Next, we have the day 2, and this is where we're going to get into some heavy spoiler territory. Let's see. We have Mustache Mountain Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, former UK champion Tyler Bate, defeating Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Finally, the Undisputed Era has been defeated out of the tag team titles.
Bullshit.
I mean,
shout out to Adam Cole, because I like his shirt, and then B, the nice jorts dork was pretty funny.
Next, we had Charlie Morgan defeating Killer Kelly. Noam Dar defeated Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, and Travis Banks, becoming the next person after Zach Gibson to basically be the #1 contender for the UK Championship. So Noam Dar versus the winner of the UK match. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is also another way to give the cruiserweights some more work and get them involved, because 205 Live, who knows what they do with that. Sometimes it seems like they are doing stuff, then sometimes it seems like they don't care. So it's kind of, I think it's an interesting way to get guys like Noam Dar to still be, on TV, still doing matches, still kind of being relevant.
Then we had Adam Cole defending his North American Championship against Wolfgang. Adam Cole retains.
Baby.
I'm looking forward to seeing that match. Adam Cole is great in the ring. Next, we had Aleister Black and Ricochet defeating EC3 and the Velveteen Dream. I am so excited to see this match. Then we had the NXT Women's Championship match. Shayna Baszler defeating Toni Storm by countout. If it's by count, I'm sorry, but countout victories aren't really interesting to me, so I couldn't really care less about that match. Lastly, we had the United Kingdom Championship match. It was Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson, and Pete Dunne did retain. So Pete Dunne's next challenge, Noam Dar.
I think he's over a year, right?
Yeah, he's held it almost as long as Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
not quite. He won it at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Chicago won.
AJ's creeping up on a year. November.
December.
No, because he fought Brock Lesnar in Survivor Series.
No, but he beat Jinder in December.
Survivor Series is always in November, though.
Nobody.
It was champion versus champion.
Yeah, but that I thought you were talking about like AJ's creeping up on Brock Lesnar and title days.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah, he did. He did defeat Jinder in November. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot.
What I was trying to say was he's what I meant to say was combined days he passed The Rock on both his title reigns. In combined days he has almost 400 or something like that.
Yeah, and it's awesome. But yeah, so that was the UK Championship tournament. Again, I still recommend watching it, because just because you know the results, if you're watching this, hey, it doesn't mean I don't know what happened in the match. So these are probably very interesting matches, and knowing the NXT and UK division, they're not going to disappoint.
It's all about the journey.
Definitely. And speaking of the UK division, they have announced that they are finally pulling the trigger on a UK show. It's called NXT UK.
Which I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place. I mean, you have the network to do just those things, you know?
Yeah. Not only did they announce the show, they announced 2 more championships they're going to have for that division. There's going to be a WWE United Kingdom Women's Championship and a WWE United Kingdom Tag Team Championship.
Cool. It's cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm. This brings WWE titles, active WWE championships. If you count NXT, which I do, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 active championships under the WWE umbrella. I think WWE is kind of going more towards the NWA route and trying to kind of expand. Because you remember, NWA had dozens of titles.
Bring back the Hardcore Championship.
Right. So, yeah. And I've heard talks of them expanding in other areas, too, which probably means other championships. I've heard them expanding in Latin America, in China, in India, and Saudi Arabia, you know.
I don't think they should do that. I think they should just stay where they're at with the States and a little bit of the UK, because what they're going to try to do is essentially do a global approach, which is weird because they've always been world wrestling entertainment. But they're going to do a global approach to what they did in the States, where they bought up all the territories. If they start expanding in all these other countries, they're going to take out the competition, Because, I mean, what's going to stop them from going to Japan and trying to take on New Japan?
Well, they do. They do work with promotions in the UK. They work with ICW, and there's one other they work with. I'm trying to think here. Let's see, partnerships. Progress. So they have a partnership with Evolve, ICW, and Progress.
I don't have much to add to that.
So,
I think that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, big things coming. I know this has been a all WWE episode. As far as I know, not really much happened outside of WWE.
No, not really.
At least nothing noteworthy.
Yeah, Jericho wasn't in New Japan and winning a title, so. And CM Punk didn't get his face punched in this week, so there's nothing to talk about.
Right.
That way. We could talk about very briefly, Vader passing away.
Rest in peace, Vader.
Was he 68?
63.
63. Way off.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody who should have been WWE champion.
What?
And also, he should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame before his passing, which there was talks about him being inducted this year. I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger on it.
I think you're getting a little too crazy with WWE champion and Hall of Fame. I don't know about that, but
come on, you could at least agree with me that he should have been in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe. That's a debate for a different day.
But yeah, rest in peace, Vader. Incredible wrestler, and he will be missed.
Yeah, he's very good for a big guy. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to do the outro or me?
Go for it, man. I mean, I'll just say that I'm Crawdaddy, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll have some more to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing this with Google Hangouts. The audio version of this will be up to either, if not tonight, tomorrow morning, up on guerrillamedia.podbean.com. That's the website you can go to. You can also get it pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. Of course, this will be on YouTube immediately after we're done here.
It's live, so if you're not watching it, then you can watch it later.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly. So if you missed parts of it, go back and listen to the beginning.
I am the Lumberjake, and
I'm Crawdaddy.
Maybe see you next week. Just say, gonna turn it off.